Namaskar. Welcome to Conversations with Rakesh. Here's today's question. Today's question actually comes from one of our members of a community we call Get Set Grow. Here's the question from that community. Rakesh sir, how are you managing time in this social media mania? How to balance work, family, traffic, social commitments, etc. in our day-to-day life? Is it possible to make most of the days productive? Very good question. I've got this question in various other flavors. One flavor was how to stop procrastination, and I chose not to take that question because honestly, I procrastinate a lot. So I can't respond and give you suggestions on how to procrastinate because or how to avoid procrastination because I'm one lazy person. Couch potato laziness ka bacha. So I can't give you suggestions on how to save time. But this question I thought was relevant because what this person is asking is that how do I manage my time in this big mania of social media, traffic, work life, and etc. So I'll give you that answer because I've done that. Please Google how to avoid procrastination. There are tons of good TED Talks and very good researches on it that think you should talk to. Many of us struggle with time. This part I acknowledge, and I'm one of them. Some people are very good at it. I mean, there are some people I've seen, they are so good, like, unko kaam do and they manage everything in that limited time. Our mothers and our grandmothers and women are very good at it. They are able to construct packages and like boxed amounts of times. Certain time goes to children, family, work, and they're able to compartmentalize and execute things much better than at least what I can do. I have always struggled with time. Maybe it could be laziness, maybe it could be just bad planning and priority. But as and when I became a little bit more sorted person, life caught up. I also realized that I had to take some fundamental choices. Here are the three, four things I did with my life to manage my time better, which I'll share with you. The first is travel. Many of us, many of you spend a lot of time in traveling. The offices nowadays are far away in cities, and this is one big problem that I am aware of. I must tell you that I was positioned in Bombay. This was in Qualcomm. Uh, Bombay is a very expensive city, but I chose to take up an apartment near the office because to me, my value of my time is very high as compared to the rent I'm paying. So a lot of people would probably take up a house far away and they would commute 1 or 2 hours, and this is normal. To me, that was unacceptable. I said that I'm going to design my life keeping the time that I have close to me, so I'll pay a higher rent. So what I would do is I've always created a simple rule for myself that if I'm working somewhere, I will take up a house or I'll live within 20 minutes, 15 minutes, 30 minutes max kind of a radius because I can't afford to waste 2 to 3 hours a day going back and forth. That's like about close to 10 to 15% of the day, and I'm wasting it just in sitting and doing nothing. Now, many people listen to audiobooks and podcasts, but it is still draining energy. So I have made sure that one law of my life is never stay very far away from work. Many of us may not have that luxury, but I decided to do that. That is step number one. Step number two, I reduced my travel. Uh, at School of Meaningful Experiences, we work from home. So there are many days we don't have to come to office, and pandemic became a very big booster in that area. But I've been working from home from 2002, and Intel used to allow us to work from home. So I used to do that 1 day a week, and it is now close to about 3 days a week. I also decline many assignments because of travel. In Bangalore, we have lots of places where I get invited to, and my first request is that I always find out where you are. And if it is way too far, like 2 to 3 hours travel, I just politely decline. I request an online meeting So I've reduced a lot of my travel and I decline meetings. So please design your life based on travel. That is request number one. And don't spend more than few hours a week on travel because that is criminal waste of your time. Second thing is, now let's look at a very big drain on our time, which is social media and other jazzy things that come around with it. Here's what I did with my life. For me, social media was very important because that was my way of connecting with the world, and I took away the television out of it. So around 10 years ago, my wife and I just disconnected the cable TV. We have never seen those television debates. It's been more than a decade. Those chair dabbe and people shouting at each other. I've forgotten that world completely, and that has really helped me and my family bring a lot of quality time in our lives because that thing is gone now. It was quickly taken over by Netflix and Amazon and other things because these things do creep in, so we've kind of minimized that to about maybe an hour in the evening when we have dinner, but there's no television. We have taken that away. Social media, I have now reduced it to a bare minimum because I'm so busy with my work that I just don't have the luxury of spending time on the social media. Though I must confess कि कभी कभार when I look at that Facebook reels and Instagram, I get sucked into it for many minutes. I have to like cajole myself to come out of it because वो चलता ही रहता है and then 2-3 घंटे निकल जाते हैं and then you're like, oh God, I wasted time. So I'm a human being. I do get sucked into it. Then I try and come out of it. So try and minimize. Keep your cell phone away. I've kept my cell phone away for many hours, and I focus on time. I must also give you one last suggestion, and then I'll give you one or two books that you may want to read. Um, the last suggestion is, if you are working in the corporate world, please delegate a lot of these things to others so that you get your chunks of time. If there are meetings you don't want to go to, decline or delegate it to your colleagues or your employees or anybody else so that you don't waste time running around here. There was this very interesting study when I was working in the corporate world, was done in the companies I worked for. They calculated the number of meetings employees attend. And the number of hours employees attend in many corporates is more than three-quarters of the day. And that is criminal. Something is wrong. If from morning till evening you are in meetings, something is going wrong. That means the company is highly inefficient. And one manager showed me his calendar. His calendar was booked every 30 minutes, multiple times. Now, he probably was showing it to me as a sense of pride. Ki, yaar, I'm such a busy man. I looked at him and said that what a terrible organization, yaar. If you are required everywhere, that means you're the bottleneck. So I think please look at your calendars. In your calendars, there must be some empty slots. And those empty slots are your slots. Please grab them. Don't give it away. This is one thing I admire the academicians. They become so protective about their time कि वो तो किसी से बात ही नहीं करते हैं. Now that's an extreme. So they stop collaborating and corporates are always in meeting rooms. So I think the answer is to come somewhere in the middle. One good suggestion is that in the morning time, block 2 hours. Block your own calendar and say, don't bother me. This is my time. I will do my work here. The remaining time is for meetings and the other time could be for other activities. Make sure that in your day there is some activity and some time that you use for your leisure, physical activity, mental activity, so that you are physically and mentally well or relaxed. You cannot be productive 100% of the time. I think we need to relax. The scientific aspect of that is very strong. There are burnouts, heart attacks, diseases happening because of overworked, very busy human beings. So please space out. In a week, give yourself a day to recharge your batteries. In a day, give yourself an hour or two to recharge your batteries. The more you balance your life, the more productive you are. There's also, I think, a very good research done. I forget it if it's from Adam Grant or someone, that continuously being overworked can also be very counterproductive to your own health and productivity of the organization. So please take a look at that. When we are busy, we do feel good. And when we are not busy, we seem to be not happy with that. And that's why we want to be very busy, and that's where time management comes in, but break them into multiple decisions. So let me summarize my requests. Please make sure that you don't travel too much, and if you have to, then keep certain part of your day or week only for travel and the other part online. Number two, take away your television, social media to some minimal zone and try and keep your devices away. Sit down somewhere and do your work. Block your calendar so that you get your time and the other calendar time is given for meetings. And the last, delegate. If you can't do everything, so make sure there are smarter people who can do work for you. That's the only way I've learned to manage my own time, with the caveat that I'm very lazy. So there are many things I give up. And I'll give you a trick that I have. If somebody needs me desperately, they will call me and tell me, ki, boss, this is the deadline. If you don't do it, you lose. So I have now reached that point, and I don't treat everything at a very urgent priority all the time. So I have my ways to handle that. In your life, if everything is urgent, something is wrong. And everything cannot be urgent and important. There has to be some things that you also do which are not urgent and important. So learn the art of prioritization, and that's the Heisenberg matrix that was also discussed in Stephen Covey's book. Uh, so apply these simple techniques to manage time. On that note, I must request a good book that you may want to read. That book is called Deep Work by Cal Newport. A very nice book, and talks about how you go deeper and deeper and focus yourself into one activity and keep doing on that. Nothing to do with time management per se, but it might give you a perspective of how focusing on one task may help you with these concepts better. Read Atomic Habits and The Power of Habit. If you break down your activities into habits, after a few days they internalize, and time management is one of the good habits. Always come to meetings on time. When I was in the corporate world, I was given a crash course that if the meeting is at 9, be there by 8:55, and then leave the meeting at 9:50 so that you have 10 minutes to freshen up and go to the meeting at 10. So you do these things, otherwise your day will be like an airport, that if one flight is delayed at 9 o'clock, it has a trickle effect throughout your day, and you're exhausted, gasping, irritated, and that's not good. So make sure you do that. Never have chunky meetings. Always keep 30 minutes, 15 minutes gap. Keep your lunch time to yourself. That's where you recharge. Have one or two coffee breaks, recharge, and tell yourself that you are not a machine. You're not supposed to be running at 100 kilometers per hour every minute of your life. You'll burn out. It's okay to be lazy. I've survived 46 years by being lazy. So laziness is not bad. And being over enthusiastic about time is also not that great. So balance it out. And on that note, take care of yourself and stay safe.